Hello to everybody out there. My name is Janet Wigglesworth, and I think that we'll go ahead and get ourselves started. The first thing I'd like to say is welcome, and I'm so glad that you're joining us and that you want to learn a little bit more about kinesiology today. A couple of housekeeping things. One is if you do have a question, and I do have various times during the presentation where I'm going to specifically stop and ask for questions, but at any time, if you've got a question, you can just raise your hand and then I'll try to see that. And then once you raise your hand, I can unmute you and you can ask your question. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is say a big hello from all the kinesiology faculty. As you can imagine, under our COVID situation, we have been meeting virtually, just as I'm meeting virtually with you today. So we're getting kind of used to this, and hopefully all the kinks are out on using Zoom, so all this can move smoothly. So I always begin my talk with, what is kinesiology? Kinesiology is a study of movement, performance, and function through the application of scientific principles. I want to say right now that when you're thinking about kinesiology, you need to have a mind towards science, because that is how we're going to base our study of movement. Our department is a fairly large department on campus. We have 613 undergraduate students, 28 graduate students, 64 coaching education minors, and 17 full-time faculty. You will notice on the chart that I have there that the majority of our students are interested in exercise science, and our physical and health education, teacher education program is smaller. I put these numbers up here for you simply because I want you to notice that the undergraduate program is our big program. While we do have a graduate program and many of our undergraduates continue to go on, it is our undergraduate program that our faculty are really excited. It's our undergraduate students that our faculty are really interested in working with. So many people ask me, so what are the potential careers? What do you do with a degree in kinesiology? Well, first of all, I have to tell you that there are two concentrations. We have a FEET concentration, and FEET stands for Physical and Health Education, Teacher Education. So that's one program. And with that program, students end up teaching in the public schools. They teach physical education, they teach health education, and they teach adapted physical education. So those are our FEET students. That's what careers they go into. From there, we also have an exercise science concentration within our degree program. And here is where we have a whole variety of careers that our students can go into. They can go into entry-level, what I'll call kinesiology professions, and those include going into the fitness industry as personal trainers and strength conditioning coaches, looking at the wellness industry. You'll find kinesiology majors in corporate wellness and campus and community recreation programs. And they go into pre-professional programs, which means they go on in their graduate years into careers in athletic training, physical therapy, occupational therapy, medicine, and there's plenty of more pre-professional health programs that they go into. So those are also places that you will see kinesiology majors. We also have advanced kinesiology preparation. So some of our students end up specializing in exercise physiology. They end up specializing in biomechanics or sports psychology. All of those are part of our professions. The last area I'm going to talk about is coaching. Within our coaching minor, those students can go into interscholastic coaching in sport as well as strength and conditioning. So as you can see from this graphic, kinesiology students are everywhere. They move into all kinds of different careers, and the choice is yours what career you want to go into. Do you have to decide this on day one when you come in? No, all that you need to decide is, I am interested in movement and I want to go into a career looking at physical activity. So here's what some of our last year students told us they plan to do after graduation. So many of them attend graduate school. They are also working in cardiac rehabilitation, cardiorespiratory therapists, they're in medicine, some end up in the armed services, medical assistant, personal trainer, physical therapy, rehab, strength conditioning coach, and they teach in the public schools. That is where our students that we talk to, those are the kinds of careers that they end up going into. So what is our curriculum? So how do you get there? You know, from point A to gainfully employed there. So in the physical and health education teacher education program, that is actually a 5-year program. And you start and you move through your bachelor's degree, and then seamlessly you move into a master's of arts in teaching. It is at the end of that 5th year, so the master's of arts in teaching, that you are now eligible to receive a Virginia teaching license, pre-K through 12, in both physical education and health education. We get the question a lot, so what if I'm from a different state? Many other states accept our degree. I know that Maryland does. I know all of them in our area. So many of our students end up teaching, not necessarily, well, not many, a few of our students end up teaching outside of Virginia. Our exercise science concentration, on the other hand, is a 4-year program. So this is a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology with the exercise science concentration. And when you look at the breakdown of how that degree is organized, you will see that there is a section there called minor. That's where you specialize. And it is because of that minor and those elective courses that if you put them together well, you can be in any of those careers that I mentioned. So that is a question of working with the faculty and working with your academic advisor to get the minor courses in there that you need to have you prepared for that degree. So I'm going to begin by talking about the physical and health education teacher education program. And before I get started, I want you to notice down here on the bottom, okay, on the bottom of several slides, I've got bit.lys here. And so these bit.lys, if you put those into your browser, they're going to go to much of the material that if you were here in person, it would be the material that I would give you. So I just want you to know that you can access much of this information that I'm going to go through fairly quickly, but but you can always refer back to that. And I've got different ones for different programs. So this one will lead you to the information about our physical education program. So with the physical education program, what that curriculum looks like is your first year, you're mostly doing your general education courses. Your second year, we put you into some of the beginning and the foundational courses of kinesiology, including the biological foundations of kinesiology. That's kind of your first foray into the science of movement. We also have you take a psychological foundations, because we have to look at motivation, and the anatomy course and gen ed. So you can see that's kind of your start into looking at movement as far as health and physical education. From there, in your third year, this is where you will begin to have more information and more practice and activities that actually are going to be applied to teaching. So in there, you see where the skill lab is there. So several times you're going to see skill labs. The students that you're seeing in the pictures are part of the skill lab. So one is outdoor adventure. The other one, they're doing some soccer activities. We also do rhythms. We do fitness, and so there's all kinds of things there, but it is here that you're going to start preparing yourself to become teachers. You will do a lot of peer teaching during this time to get you ready for your teaching. In your fourth year then, in the fall, this is a focus on elementary physical education and the classes involved with that. And in the spring semester, the first half of the semester, you are in class, more with elementary. And then the second half of the spring semester, you are student teaching. So that is where you will be placed in an elementary school and you will complete your student teaching. It's an 8 or 9 week student teaching experience. Then The summer after that senior year, that's when you begin the graduate program, and that is where you will have classes during the first 4 weeks. And for this group, those will all be online in the summer, but that is the only time that they are offered. And then in the fall of the fifth year, in your graduate year, you're going to look at secondary and middle school methods for physical education. And again, then in the fifth year in the spring, you'll have some classes, and then you will do your student teaching during that second block. So where do our students do their student teaching? Again, their senior year for the 8 weeks in an elementary setting, during that senior year, and during the graduate year, 8 weeks at a secondary session. So that's the physical education student teaching practicum. Before that, you do some peer teaching as well as some small lesson teaching within the public schools. So where are they student teaching? Obviously, we're student teaching in the Virginia area, and these are some examples of where our student teachers have gone. So what does a physical education classroom, what does a PHE class look like? Well, on the left, you are going to have some, what I'll call lectures. And on the right, you have some problem solving in group. You're gonna practice your skills in drawing, okay? Looking at dribbling. You're going to go outside and do some ropes course. You're going to play wheelchair basketball, learn about that, about working with students with disabilities. And here is what you look like this year. Yes, our students are meeting in person, and yes, we're in masks. And so we're really learning right now how to teach in a COVID environment. So that's what a physical education program looks like. And I'm going to pause here for just a minute to see if anybody has any questions about the physical and health education teacher education concentration. So remember, you can raise your hands, I think. I'll just take a little pause here. Okay. All right, well, if you do, if you think of one later, go ahead and ask, or we can wait till the very end with that. All right. What I am guessing, the majority of you are interested probably in the exercise science concentration. I showed you that graph. The majority of our students are in exercise science. And so hopefully now, add some questions now when you have them. A question that I get asked a lot is, what's the difference between sports medicine and exercise science? Sports medicine is actually a field of medicine concerned with injuries sustained during athletic endeavors. That's what sports medicine is about. Exercise science, on the other hand, is a study of movements associated with the functional responses and adaptations. Why are these two together? Well, because the undergraduate training in the movement obviously translates into how you're going to be prepared for sports medicine, which is all done at the graduate level. So, sports medicine, when we look at that, I want to change your thought process on sport medicine here, because here, all of sports medicine is found under the pre-professional health minors. And you're going to hear some information about pre-professional health minors, and I'm going to provide you with some information about that. But I just want you to know they're all under the umbrella of all the sports medicine. If you want to get into sports medicine, it's all under the pre-professional health minors. If you're not interested in further study at the graduate level, which is what is required on all the pre-professional health minors, then you do have the option of what I'll call stopping at the point that you graduate, and you do have a way to become employed. So with that, I began with this graph looking at minors, so I'm going to come back to that here in a minute. So remember that with the piece. And so here is how the exercise science concentration is organized. We begin with a foundation in science. We have chemistry, anatomy, physics, and biology on there. Then we look at the core content. The core content of movement is exercise physiology, biomechanics, physical activity, and motor learning. So that's what I'm calling our core content. Then we move into specialization. So we'll look in, you will be exposed to exercise testing, exercise prescription, exercise and chronic disease, and then a whole series of special topics. Last in our pyramid of our curriculum are field experiences. Without field experiences, you will really not know if this profession is correct for you. So I want to emphasize that these field experiences are very important, and it's a time for you to explore what it is you want to do. And it is part of your degree, a very important part of your degree. Now, also, I talked about the minor. Remember, the minor is in there. So as long as you plan well with your minor, you're all set to graduate in, in 4 years. And it is that minor that makes you set out, sets one person apart from another, allows you to specialize into what you want to do. So again, there's 2 field experiences on there, a practicum and an internship. And I just want to mention, kind of show you where they've been for their internships. So our exercise science students had internships in, well, not last year, that was the year before, Costa Rica, Australia. They've been in Illinois, so outside of the states, Vermont, Texas. Most of our students, though, stay in-state, in the Virginia area. And there's 2 ways to do your practicum. One is you can do it during the year while you're here. So obviously your site is going to have to be in the Harrisonburg area. The second way is over the summer, so you can finish that internship or practicum experience in the summer at home. All of these, you will work with one of our faculty members, and that faculty member will help you to negotiate how do you get a site, a placement site. All right, so I see Maya has her hand raised here. Good, we got a question. So I'm letting you talk, Maya. You have to unmute yourself though.
Hi, this is Maya. Unfortunately, we can't hear you anymore.
Really? Huh. Okay, let me, Glenn, my assistant, can you hear me?
I'm able to hear you, yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can't hear her, right?
So Maya, you still can't hear me?
Yes, sadly, we can't hear anymore.
Huh. All right, let me switch my microphone. All right, come on now. Can you hear me now? Maya, can you hear me now?
We'll try to jump back in again or sign in again.
Okay.
Okay, she said leave. Maybe we'll.
Okay, so if anybody else is having trouble hearing, please let us know and we'll try to work through that. This actually has happened in several of our classes. All of a sudden, one person can hear and one person can't hear. So please let me know. Okay, so, oh, the chat is working. So good. So you can chat too. That's good. I can see you in the chat here. So oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Giavis family, they can hear me. So, all right, so I'm going to move on. Hopefully, Maya can hop back in. All right, I did get it right. All right. All right, so these are our internship sites where our students have gone. Obviously, during COVID here, we have had some difficulties with our students, but I'll show you some of them in action. Some of them are actually at sites right now. So that has been nice. So with the curriculum on the left side here, I have our curriculum that we've got. So you'll see the gen ed, you'll see our core courses, and then you'll see our concentration courses, and then you'll see electives on here. So this is our basics of our curriculum. And remember, this document is one of those that you can download from there. And so I also want to tell you that there is a formal admission process into the exercise science concentration. It is actually going on right now for the spring. The applications were due yesterday, as a matter of fact. So what will happen is you're going to apply online during the semester in which you finish these 5 courses. So Bio 290, Bio 270, Chem, the Biological Foundations of Kinesiology, and the Lifetime Fitness and Wellness, which is a gen ed course. You would take that your first year. And so the top 60 applicants per semester or 120 students per year are admitted into the program. So that sounds kind of scary. Basically, what this is boiling down to is during this semester, we require our students to pause. And during that pause and this application procedure, we ask them to write us an essay about 500 words. Why kinesiology? Why are you going into this? And the majority of our students who are kind of on the fence look at that and they go, oh, well, I guess kinesiology isn't for me. And they find a different major here. So I don't want to make this sound like a scary procedure. And if you talk to our students rarely know somebody who wasn't admitted. But then again, it also is a time for us to look at your performance in that Biological Foundations of Kinesiology. And the reality is, if you don't do well in that, nor fitness and wellness, maybe this field isn't right for you. And so I want to say that this is a good way to have our students have a pause to decide, is this the right concentration for me, or should I be looking somewhere else? So, but I also want to be upfront that we do have an admission process into our program. So with that application process, I get to collect some data on there to give you an idea of what are our students thinking that they want to go into. So when they apply to exercise science, here's the kinds of jobs they want to get in. Here's the fields they want to get into. The majority of our students who are looking for a job, that means graduating, and then not going to graduate school, are looking to go into the fitness industry. Some are going to move on to nutrition, strength and conditioning, some with individuals with disabilities, some are still undecided, some are with special needs, but the majority of our students will move into some aspect of the fitness field if they're going to go on to a job. If they're going to go into a graduate program, into one of the pre-professional health programs, you'll see that the majority of our students are interested in moving on into becoming a physical therapist. So that is an interesting dynamic here. Why are they interested in going into physical therapy? Well, we study movement, and physical therapists are about movement. And so that's why they're particularly interested in that. The other reason they're interested in physical therapy, athletic training, or one of those is maybe you've been hurt. And so if you've been hurt, you've met with them, you've met and worked with these people, and so you would like to continue on with that. So that is where our students have indicated that they want to go to when they apply. By the time they graduate, they're a little bit different. But this is when they apply, this is what they're thinking about going into. I spent some time talking about the pre-professional health program, and so this is a document that it's in this group here, and what this is course recommendations for this pre-professional health program. So what you can do is look across the top here and go, okay, I'm interested in physical therapy. What courses do I need to include in my minor and electives? Now, the nice thing about this is our degree already requires 270, 290, 131, 132, 140, Math 220, Math 205, and there's actually a back page to this. So it's not like these are all extra classes, and that is why many of our students are interested in us and physical therapy, because the crossover is perfect with that. So those are the pre-professional health programs. I will also add to this is that if you are moving into a pre-professional health program, you are going to have a minor advisor. These are all minors. And so you will have an advisor over there who will help you with the application process into all of these areas. They'll help you with the careers. They actually most of them came from these professions. So if you're interested in physical therapists, your minor advisor over there will be a physical therapist. So all of that plays a role in that. You have that plus you will have your major advisor. So we have an advisor who will be working directly with you to help plan your curriculum, but you've got a second opinion on there to get you through both of these requirements. So that's the pre-professional health courses. And so I just wanted to show you what happens with our students. Now I have little sample schedules in my document that I have shared with you, but these are 2 students that I recently met with and worked with. This person is transferring into our program at the end of her first year, or his, I don't remember who this is. I blocked it out here so you wouldn't be able to see. So this is somebody who is transferring in, started somewhere else, and then is moving into our program. So you'll see that I've got lots of things here. So I've got all their clusters for their gen ed and things like this, but this is how it will lay out within their 4-year program. And we can contrast that with this student who I recently met with that's transferring into our program after 3 semesters here. And so this person actually, I don't remember where they were coming from, but this person is transferring in now. And so we have to be really careful with the spring semester. And actually, in order to get all the requirements they need to apply, they're going to need to take anatomy in the summer. But it is this kind of advising that you will get from your advisor in kinesiology that will help lay out your plan for 4 years so that indeed you can graduate. How do our students mess up here? One is they don't take enough credits, they don't follow the plan. And the second way is, unfortunately, some of them fail a course and that puts them behind. But the key here is that you need to get this application submitted so we get those 5 courses in during this time, and then you get to start in your program in of the core content of our program, so the 300 level courses. So you always see we try to get the exercise physiology. That's our first one in the content that's over here. So I just want to provide you with that information, and when you take a look at the documents that I've shared with you, you'll see a sample. What would it look like as an exercise science major? What would it look like if I'm interested in PT? What would it look like in OT? And those are just to give you an idea of what those schedules would look like. And kind of what you're getting into here. All right, so with that, what does our students look like during COVID? You know, everybody wants to see that, and if you were here, we would give you a tour of the building and all kinds of things. But what does a student look like during COVID? Well, we've done some exercise testing outdoors. They're doing a submax bike test over here, so you can see we've got shields and things like that, and it was a nice day that day for exercise, so there they are. And then what do our interns look like? Yes, we do have interns out right now. So this person is observing at a physical therapy clinic, and this student is actually working with JMU strength conditioning. And I'm just going to add that he made this picture. So they called the machine, you know, when they clean the machines, they call it the Ghostbuster. So he added a little ghost over here. So, but we're here, we're out, and we're learning all the ins and outs of COVID, just like I know you are in learning that way as well. So I'm going to pause here for just a minute and to see if you have any questions. Now you can either raise your hand, or I see the chat works. We didn't know if the chat was going to work, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the exercise science concentration either way. Oh, I see. Oh, the passing grade. What is the passing grade for these classes? Does it have to be a B? No. We actually don't have a passing grade requirement. So C's work, but C's won't get you into a graduate program. How do I get the documents you shared about the sample schedule? That's down here at the bottom of the slides. So you see the bit.ly/JMU ES 2020. If you click on that, it's going to go to a Google folder, a Google Doc folder, and it should be there. Please let me know if it doesn't let you in. Okay. Any other questions? I'm looking over here.
It looks like there's a hand raised.
Maya, are you back? And so you'll need to unmute.
Oh, sorry. What percentage of the undergraduates actually go on to study physical therapy in grad school?
I don't know the exact number. I do know that of the ones that apply, JMU as a whole, I think well, I know we're above the average, so I think admissions might know this a little bit better, but I think it's still like 30 or 40% get in their first try. We have had very good luck with our students getting in. As a matter of fact, last year we had 4 students who were early admitted into a program, and that rarely happens when we had 4 of those positions. Do I know where they applied to grad school? No, it's kind of all over. And in the packet that I've provided you there, at the very end of that packet, it has 2 sheets on there. One is, so you want to be a physical therapist, and one is, do you want to be an athletic trainer? And both of those have information about the field, those 2 fields. I have not made one yet for OT and some of the other ones, but please take a look at that. If you're interested in physical therapy, go to the physical therapy site that I have cited on that handout, and you're going to learn a lot where all the schools are. Does it still look okay to come from a community college for this program? Absolutely. My one caveat on coming from a community college is this: it is best if you finish and get your degree. And the reason for that is, once you finish your degree from a community college, then you have met our general education requirements. If you have not finished and received your associate's degree, then you will have to make up some of our gen ed classifications. I hope that makes sense. And believe me, the students that come from a community college, they are very well prepared, and they do very well within our program. It's not that I'm trying to get you to go there, but if you need to, please come to us afterwards. The last thing I'll add about community college is there's one trick. Do you remember when I had on there, we had anatomy and physiology, those 2 courses? It's Bio 270 and Bio 290. If you look at those 2, the key is, if you are going to take those not at JMU, you need to take both of them. And you either take both, or if you only take one, then when you come here, you're going to take both. And that is not unique to JMU. The reason that you have to do them both is because those 2 classes are organized very different. Sometimes it's A&P1, A&P2, sometimes it's anatomy and physiology. And so in order to guarantee that you've got the full array of classes, then you need to take both at the same school. So either you take both there or you take both here. Other questions? Maya, I've got you on the screen. Sorry, I didn't know if you had a question because I saw that other one come in. Or maybe that was your question. No? All right, so I'm going to move on to a little bit about other things. What can you do outside of your major? And these are the professional opportunities. So I'm not going to talk about all the fun stuff. Well, actually, this is fun. We think this is fun, but other opportunities you can take advantage of. One is joining our coaching minor. Our coaching education minor is 20 credit hours. It includes 6 courses. It's got a practicum experience where you're working with a coach, And if you at all have an interest in coaching, whether it's full-time or whether it's part-time, this might be a minor that you want to pick up. This minor is open to everybody on campus, not just students in our program, but just something for you to think about if you are at all interested, if you came from athletics and maybe you want to continue on and give back. So down there at the bottom, I've got the information about the coaching, the JMU Coaching 2020. Okay, so what is one thing that makes JMU stand out from other schools in physical therapy? When can students start assisting some of the sports team at JMU? All right, the one thing that sets us apart in physical therapy is our emphasis on science and our emphasis on research. So I would say that a lot of our students who are the most successful moving on to the physical therapy programs also get involved in undergraduate research projects. So they are very strong in that, and because they have done the research, they actually have a lot more hands-on skills than some of our other students. It's not that we don't do hands-on skills, but once you collect data on subjects, you are much more comfortable working with the subjects. So that was the first question. The second question was, when can students start assisting some of the sports teams at JMU? They can start assisting as soon as they develop a relationship with one of the coaches or some of the athletes. Most of our students begin work in strength conditioning, and they work with one of the coaches here who also teaches our strength conditioning class. So I don't want to say day one that you get to do all of the hands-on pieces. So it's just going to be a question of, you know, developing those relationships. Are you going to, on day one, be able to work with football? No. Once you establish yourself, yes. So, you know, that's what the reality of this is. You don't start at the top. You need to start here and then demonstrate your desire and your activities. But can they work with the teams? Yes. Okay. All right, so that was the coaching minor. The other question I get a lot is, can you study abroad? Yes. So many students, well, there are several students that do. I've talked to some who went to Italy and talked to ones that went to Spain. So yes, they have gone abroad. Probably our most popular program is our summer internship in Australia. And this is actually fulfills your internship requirement. And so they work with an Australian World's football team, and they can do everything from sports medicine to strength conditioning, fitness, exercise prescription, and they get to learn the rules of Australian football. So our very first program in 2018, and that's the picture that's on the screen here, our very first program, we only had 5 students go, and 4 came back because 1 got a job, which is very nice. And then the next year, summer of 19, we had 12. This past summer, we had 20 interested. Unfortunately, we were not able to go. So many of those students are deferring, and they're going to see if they can go this summer. But that is a very popular program for a summer internship experience. We also have research opportunities, and I mentioned that as far as what sets our students apart. And so these are 4 studies that are going on right now. So we're looking at body composition measurements. We're looking at VO2 max testing. That one's got to wait till the spring. Hopefully we can continue on with that one. The nitrate supplement inspired distance runners. So that is actually working with the cross-country team here, doing a study with the cross-country team. And the last one is looking at beetroot juice supplementation. So the subjects are going to take various drinks, and we'll look at their performance, their changes in performance. All of these are undergraduate research projects. How did students get involved? One is they started early and they got themselves into the lab being an assistant. And then they worked on a project with somebody else, whether it's another undergraduate or whether it's a graduate student. And then by the time they get to their senior year, they are ready to start this research. So obviously these are going on right now, which means they proposed them last spring, the spring of their junior year. And so that's an opportunity that we have in the Human Performance Lab. And then we also have a center that's looking at the well-being of girls and women through the promotion of physical activity. And we have programs going on right now. And I want to say that these are online programs. So if anybody's interested, go ahead over there to the Morrison Bruce Center and you can join in with them. So we've got a program that's going to go on, I think it starts next Wednesday, in Dumbbells After Dark. We also have a Families in Motion program where families, especially with small children, can keep their kids active. So that's that center. And then we have an Empowerment 3 center that it works with individuals with disabilities. Again, these are all volunteer activities, and then oftentimes they lead to practicum and internship possibilities. So they have workouts, they have a wellness challenge, and again, those programs are the ones that are going on right now. Under our current situation, we have different programs if we can be here in person. So that's the Empowerment Center. And then the last thing I'll mention is UREC, that's the Recreation Center. So if any of you have visited campus, this is our recreation center that is open to all of our students. Well, our students are particularly interested in this because this is where you can apply your skills. And you can look at aquatics, you can look at fitness, you can look at sport officiating, you can become a fitness leader over there. And the reality is they have over 500 jobs every year. And so this is a place that our kinesiology students can apply what they're learning in the classroom and move and, you know, practice what it is that they're learning. And this, back to the question from that I had before, this is something else that can set our program apart from everything simply because you have that opportunity to work in these types of settings. So we are located in Godwin Hall. I've got my little picture back here and you can see it there. So we're right by the bookstore, between the bookstore and the football field. And I'm just going to end with any questions and that you might have for me about the program. The last thing that I will add is that you are more than welcome, if you're in the Harrisonburg area, you're more than welcome to send us an email and say, hey, I'm going to be in town, and we'll set something up that we can show you our labs and our facilities. And you can meet some of our students and meet some of our faculty. So that is a possibility. As a matter of fact, I had a family here yesterday. So they stopped in and we got to show them a little bit of the building and things like that. So we're open, we're here. It'll just depend on your comfort level with travel at this point in time. So what questions do you have for me? Our visits only on the weekend. Thank you very much. No, actually, I prefer if you were here during the week. That makes my life easier. But if the weekend is the only time you can get here, well, as long as you give me some advance notice, that would be great, and we can figure something out. Try to make it during the week. Thank you. That would be great. But again, I'm here in town, so I can figure something out, and I always enjoy seeing our facilities. We won't see as many students on the weekend. Okay, are there any courses you recommend taking as a high school student interested in exercise science? Yes, if there is any way you can take any sort of course dealing with anatomy, that would be very helpful for you. It doesn't mean that you're going to you're still going to take anatomy here, but if you think about it, if I know already half the bones and muscles in the body, I've got a foot up on that. So if it is at all possible to do something like that, that's fine. If it's not, that's fine as well. The other course that's very helpful is a medical terminology class, because the reality of physiology and anatomy is that that's a different language. And so the medical terminology classes, and there are lots of them actually that are online, those are other courses that are excellent to take. Do I recommend shadowing before applying? Not necessarily. I'd have to ask Glenn if that counts in the application process. Any shadowing you know, what the admission criteria is. As far as getting into our program, no. The thing that shadowing will help you with is decide, well, am I interested in athletic training or physical therapy? And even if you are interested in physical therapy right now, maybe you want to go see what occupational therapy is all about, because a lot of our students find that at the end.
So I confess, I'm not familiar with the term shadowing.
That means that they would go shadow a physical therapist. So kind of like a version of a practicum, but just observation.
That's not something that we would be looking at in and of itself. Now that's something that might be part of an anatomy or physiology course that you took, but really we'd be just looking at the courses taken.
Right. Okay, and then I got another one. Are students taking classes live or virtual due to COVID? Well, we have a whole combination of classes. So I'll tell you, our physical education classes, they are live because it's hard to learn how to teach if you're not in the classroom. So those are smaller classes and they are live. Our other classes are mostly in a hybrid form, meaning that we meet sometimes in person, sometimes not in person. So there is an online component and then there's an in-person component. I found though that with the classes that I'm teaching, it's kind of interesting that the students are starting to get comfortable with the online and they'd rather not leave their house, which I find is odd, but we do have those, and I'd say next semester for the spring, we will have a fairly equal distribution of classes that you can take online and classes that are going to meet here as a hybrid. We are limited by our room size, so if we have a room that normally fits 50, it might fit 25 right now, and so if we have 50 in there, then students are on an alternate schedule, but we are working it out. So our Thanksgiving break, just so you know, it is a week-long break. So it starts on the Monday before Thanksgiving. Well, technically the Saturday. So it starts on that Monday. We have that entire week. After that week, for the most part, we will be online. So we are not having our students return after Thanksgiving. They'll be online and then finish the rest of the semester. There are some exceptions to that. So the idea was you didn't go back and forth between families. Okay, I'm just going to talk about the resilience of our students here. You know, we're working through that. Our students have been really resilient in this situation. They've been very good, and I think they've really learned a lot about working on their own, you know, and really advocating for themselves. We have learned a lot about technology, and we've learned a lot about communicating through Zoom or WebEx. And by the way, if you do want to meet individually that way, we can do that as well. So, you know, we're making do with the situation that we've been put in. And I think we've had a lot of growth, and we're gonna do all right. And our students are especially going to do all right. Oh, visit after Thanksgiving? Yes. Yeah, our offices are still open all the way through. Yep, the campus is still here, and we will be open. If a student is taking a DE class of physical activity, what is the requirement needed for that course to transfer? Oh, dual enrollment. Okay, dual enrollment. We do accept dual enrollment courses. I know that students have that. And it's through NOVA, yes. So there is an agreement out there, and it's called Transferology. And so if you look on the registrar's site under Transferology, isn't that a great name for that? You will be able to see all the NOVA courses and what they count for. So that is all online right now. It's all out front. So Glenn just put that up there, the dual enrollment credit piece. What it will transfer for is dependent on what it says there. The credits always come. So the credits will always come. Whether it counts for one of those specific requirements, that is the difference for the various classes. So some of our courses, some courses you might take in kinesiology, you might go kin 000 or kin XXX. That means the credits came, but it's not counting for a specific course. Okay, well, my name again is Janet Wigglesworth, and I would be happy to talk to any of you any more that, you know, about our program or about kinesiology in general, or any questions you have on the material that I shared with you today. And if you didn't catch one of the links or the links didn't work, just send an email, shoot an email to that address, the JMU Kinesiology at jmu.edu, and we will get back to you. And again, I am more than happy to meet with anybody, arrange, you know, if you can't come to campus and see us here and you want to do something virtually, just, you know, say what you're interested in, and I'll try to get a student connected with that as well. But I hope this was informative and it helped you to, one, learn more about kinesiology, and two, I hope you learned a little bit more about JMU. So the faculty in our department will get to know you, and we have what I think is a wonderful program. So with that, I will stay as long as you like and as long as you've got questions. Otherwise, you all have a good weekend, stay safe, and go Dukes.